pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we got a special staff volunteer presentation.
Roll call.
Okay, roll call first.
Yeah, let's make sure we're here first.
Yeah. Okay.
Rita Ackerman. Here. Buster Banky.
Here.
Todd Hope.
Here.
Catherine Menifee.
She's not coming.
She's excused.
Yes.
And Kevin Battles.
Probably be here in a few minutes.
Okay.
All righty.
Let's go in.
Now we can do our staff volunteer presentation.
Chief Mason, would you join me in the middle of the room, please?
I don't like surprises.
We've been sitting around talking about these old pipe poles that we had out back, wondering what we're going to do with them. And then we remembered that we had an anniversary coming up. We actually missed it by a couple of weeks. But the staff and I all got together and we made this for you to commemorate your 1-year anniversary as Chief of Central Coast.
Thank you. After all the talk about what to do with those pipe poles.
Now you got a wall hanger.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Also, we can afford the surplus stuff.
Yeah.
What was that, Rick?
Well, they're not being surplus, they're being reused.
Repurpose.
What do you call them?
Pike poles. P-I-K-E poles.
Yeah.
They're for
Those
pulling
are
ceilings.
Old style right there.
Those came off of the old ladder truck that Woodson had bought.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're at least 40 years old.
Yeah. You don't see them in wood anymore.
The most useful
Same
part of
as
that
me.
truck we had.
Sorry about that. Got something out of
Kevin.
Cooking dinner for my kids, the burgers are still on the pan.
Okay, well, Kevin, you want to probably read the minutes?
I've read them.
You already read them? Okay. Are you, yeah, everybody read the minutes?
Good.
Yep, we're good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so be it. All right, I don't really have any kind of report tonight, so we'll go to citizen participation. Have anything in that tonight? Nope. Okay, yeah, we're moving right along. Okay, staff presentations, training, maintenance, and administration.
So we had for the month of March so far, 7 fires, 33 EMS responses, 1 vehicle crash, 1 water or surf rescue, 6 lift assists, and 1 other assist, for a total so far this month of 49, although it feels like most of those have been in the last 2 days. And then we ended out with February ending out at 101 calls for the month of February. So still above, still going up. Training, total hours since the beginning of the year, 546 and a half hours completed. Total hours since February 17th until today, 165 and a half hours. And it's just a little higher because of the rope. We finished 2 shifts worth of rope classes already. So 1 more to go, starts next week. Minutes.
I don't have a whole lot to report. The exterior cameras out at Tidewater are up and running, as well as the propane bottle is now installed. It's not hooked up yet because they have to have like road gates or somebody come out and run the lines. Everything else is pretty good. They've been working pretty hard to get the brush truck since we're coming up on wildland season, wildfire season. We're putting it all back in service and doing some things that have been neglected on quite a bit. So over the years, so I'm putting it all back to where it's really functional and actually be able to start it right in the cab and so on and so forth. So the only other thing I kind of attached is a sample. I've started entering data into our fleet software, and it tracks mileage so that it'll tell me when rigs are needing dock serviced or dot inspected, oil changes, so on and so forth, as well as it tracks expenditure, lets me know kind of what has all been spent on a particular apparatus and kind of where we're at with everything as far as repairs, fuel costs, so on and so forth, so that down in the future, if we ever do look at buying engines or another apparatus, we can say, well, this one over the last few years has really started using a lot more fuel, I'm guessing it's getting tired, or, whatever the case may be. It gives a good base to say, number-wise, so. Other than that, I've just been plugging away.
All right, well, that sounds good.
I really like this, by the way, the
Yeah.
chart. I think that,
Shows it good.
yeah.
And that's only data from January. I could have gone back further, but I started going from January and going through receipts and so on and so forth.
Although I'm not exactly sure a pie chart is.
It was just one of the reports, I just wanted to print something out
Yeah,
so that I could
okay.
kind of
Just
give you guys an
I
idea.
think,
Like a
maybe
line graph, yeah.
Yeah, or a bar chart of some sort might
Okay.
be easier to understand and maybe get the information in there a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's good.
Good deal.
Wendy, you got anything?
I actually don't have anything this month.
Okay. All right, well then, let's go along to the volunteer report.
It's Rick here.
No, he had to go to another appointment.
So the activities we've had for community-wise have actually been the last couple of days. Today and tomorrow, we participated in Career Day today at the school. And then tomorrow, we are helping them with their wildland program, doing first aid in the wildland setting. So we're gonna do scenarios with them and help their students.
How old the kids you do that with?
The kids in the wildland program are, I think they're the
High schoolers.
seniors, right?
High school kid? Middle school?
No, today was middle school for the career day. Tomorrow should be, are they seniors at the wildland program, or are they
They're sophomores to seniors.
sophomores through seniors? So there's actually a wide range there. We've been talking with them about helping them out more and more at the wildland program. We're gonna take our brush rig up there and let them work with it.
Get them interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good idea.
Yeah. The part that Eric's talking about putting back in service is the ability for that truck to modulate, which is pump and roll and use the turret that's on the front of it.
Right.
It was disconnected and never put back together a few years ago. We're putting it back together. We would have used it immensely on Echo Mountain, and it's very
Oh, really?
handy. So we're putting it back together and getting it back in shape for the season. So,
Yeah, who knows what kind of summer we're heading for.
Yeah. Well, now that we're staffed with 6, I actually can probably get Conflag up and running for us, which will bring in some more income to the district as well.
Right.
So
Good, good, good.
good.
We did also have another volunteer application come in. His background just came back, so we'll be setting up interview and getting him started and stuff on things too.
Yep. That's it for volunteers.
All right. Well, Shy, you got a report for us tonight?
Defer to Joe.
Joe, you got a report for us tonight?
So pretty soon we'll be coming out with dates for negotiations. We're due July 6th, or July 2022, this year. We're gonna get together and pick out some dates we want to do, go over contract. Other than that,
That's you and Kevin.
Sweet, yeah,
No, it's Catherine.
Catherine.
You and
Yeah.
Catherine. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it there on that, just so we have it all for budget items. I think we probably have, I just read through, just skimmed through it again this afternoon, shot that to me, thank you. Yeah, seems pretty straightforward, I don't know what we can get.
yeah. But how it usually goes is, one day we'll pick 2 or 3 topics to go over. Say, all right, this is what's gonna be the same, this is what we're gonna ask for, or not ask for, or whatever. We'll just take 2 or 3 topics and then we'll go through it day by day. No one will get rushed through the whole contract, a couple at a time, and then we'll go to the next.
Yeah, the numbers shouldn't affect us till next year's fiscal budget. Not this upcoming fiscal budget.
Oh, okay, you're right,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, because they increased this year.
Yeah, otherwise I'd have to have those numbers by April.
Right.
Okay, so I don't have to rush it much, you're right. Thank you.
Well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, how about the finance report?
Well, we've 8 months through the year, through the end of, through the fiscal year in February. We had $936,061 in cash on hand, which is pretty good. And last year, we had $960,946, and we've been doing a lot of work to Tidewater, so that shows that things aren't increasing substantially. Personnel services through the end of February, $391,981, and we budgeted $615,570 for about 63.7%, so we're about 4% under budget there. Medical supplies, we've overspent a little bit, $310.05 over, but we have $5,310 for the end of February, and we budgeted $5,000. Protective equipment, still have a lot of room there. We only booked $755, and we budgeted $10,000 there, so.
Yeah, we only have 3 sets coming in, and they were supposed to come in 2 or 3 months ago. So I don't even think it's gonna be about half of that, probably.
How much is a total turnout set?
It's about, if you go head to toe, it's probably about $2,500 a person. So,
That's everything.
yeah, all we ordered, we already had helmets and everything, all we ordered was the pants and jackets for sizing for people. So.
Vehicle fuel, $11,591 year to date. I don't think anybody's terribly shocked about that. So
No.
we budgeted $12,000, so I would say we're likely going to overshoot that. Pretty wide margin. Vehicle repair, $25,475, and we budgeted $20,000, so we're $5,475 over, or 4 over. And some of that is we've acquired new equipment
Right.
that had to be outfitted, so that pushed it up.
Do we have any major repairs coming for the rest of the year that you guys can foresee?
No, we're stabilizing out pretty well.
Yeah, it's
A lot of that was the rescue and
Oh,
the
yeah.
command rig, and keep in mind, we brought in almost 40-something thousand in surplus for that, so. And we just sold the compressor for
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
4,500?
4,500.
So there's 4,500 more coming
yesterday.
So, yeah.
What
Yeah.
do they charge on the percentage on that? I mean, they obviously
They
charge,
charge the buyer 10%.
Yeah.
they charge the buyer.
The buyer.
Okay.
The buyer has to pay 10%.
Okay,
It doesn't cost us any, whatever we sell it for, we get the full amount.
okay.
Yeah, through the end of February, we booked sales of $29,448, so surplus equipment. And last thing, current levy taxes, we budgeted, or we brought in, so far we've booked $853,040, and we budgeted $831,141. So we're 2.6% over.
But
So
within
that's-
the category, we're still okay.
Oh, yeah, in that category, we're gonna overshoot it quite a bit, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Last year, it was $820,915 for the entire year. So we're almost there, and last year. In May, we will bring in, May and June, probably about $30,000 for the current levy taxes. So we will exceed last year, and our budget figure will be wide. That's all I've got today.
Are you good with that, Mr. Trade?
Yes, I am. And thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the budget. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I was just gonna say, I did ask Brett for some additional information. I'm a little concerned about our legal fees.
Okay.
But I didn't get it until just prior to the meeting, so I haven't had a chance to review it yet. But, I would approve the financial statement, but I just wanted to note that, because we're already at, 79%, I think, of what we had budgeted.
Well, $6,111, or $6,111.62.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that 62 cents that really bothers me.
Yeah, well, I do have a detail for you. The 62 is because in accrual accounting, which is what we are, if something has a life beyond 1 month, you split it, you separate it over the period of time that it belongs to. And we did have one invoice that was for 12 months. So if you divide the whole invoice by 12, that's where you get it. That Oregon Ethics
Yeah,
Commission, that's where.
okay.
Good question. You never know, lawyers, you know.
Right.
All right, well, with that, I'll make a motion to approve the budget as, not budget, but financials as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
So aye, so be it. All right, we got any correspondence?
Pay the bills.
Oh.
I didn't see them.
Oh, there it is, okay.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills, I didn't see them, but I'm guessing.
Second.
They're signed.
Look
They're
at,
signed.
cool, perfect.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now do we have any correspondence?
Do not have any.
Nothing? Okay. How about old business?
Nothing was requested to be put on the agenda.
All right, then let's talk about our new business, our city lease.
The only thing I have the city lease, I give a copy,
Yeah.
was put into all your packets. The only thing I need to know is, are you ready to sign it, or would you like me to send it off to legal for their blessing or not?
I think
I think
we
we
probably
should.
should have it looked at for ourselves,
I
don't
think
you?
we need to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send it off.
Okay, you'll send it then, all right, okay.
Probably be able to sign it by next meeting,
All right,
if legal doesn't have any corrections.
yeah, because they already did their lawyer, so we just gotta,
Yeah, but it's
it's
all,
nice
it's,
to get that behind
it's
it.
good to, it's good to have ours review it as well.
Okay, then, we got our chief's report.
Not much to report. It's just been busy with calls. I have been talking with Mackenzie about trying to get them to redo the building design using the full footprint of the building and not trying to do new construction. Just basically seismicking and hardening what's currently here. We would have to add on a couple vehicle bays because we need more vehicle bays.
Right.
But that would be the only new construction, not new dorms, not new everything. They're gonna get back to me. They came back to me with initial price and I said, yeah.
You don't even need to tell us.
We already spent, for the first evaluation, I'm just looking for a new revision of the drawing. I don't need 3D rendering. I don't need any of that stuff. I just want a new floor plan that we could look at and say, okay, yeah, using the full footprint could work, which would significantly decrease the price on the building overall as well.
Right.
So they're gonna come back to me with a better price, and then I'll pass it, probably next meeting, I'll pass that on. Civil Service Committee, I sent you guys the civil service rules. It's just for review this month, so take it home, read through it. The next step will be building a commission. So typically 3 people, they have to be taxpayers, community members, and they meet once a year to essentially review it and either update or just keep the rules in place as they currently are. The only other time that they have to meet is if there's a civil service issue. So it's 3 people meeting once a year to say, yep, our rules are still good, and we're done. Everything else is for me to follow through civil service with employees.
So how does this, I have no clue what this whole thing is, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either.
I would go through that rule book that I sent you first and
Yeah.
get a general understanding of that and then come back with questions. It's basically, we are civil service according to legal. Once we had 4 full-time firefighters, we crossed over civil service. Civil service is a set of rules that we have to follow. The majority of it incorporates employment, hiring. It incorporates veterans preference very heavily. It just sets rules that we have to follow. We can't just bring somebody in and be like, I like you, you're hired.
Gotcha.
We have to bring them in, we have to go through a testing process. The testing process has to have a scoring system to it. The scoring system has to equal to 100 points. Veterans preference has to be awarded after the 100 points are total. It's a book on how to do employment management through a civil service structure. So, in the rule book is
Is it a lot of more HR type of deals then
Yes.
than anything else?
Yes.
Is what it sounds like? It's like an HR policy?
yes.
Okay. How much should we incorporate these HR policies into our HR policies for our policies and procedures?
So these are federal, so they supersede ours.
Got you. That's what I mean, so should we like look at meshing the two, or is that just?
It would be
Yeah.
best practices to mesh them, that way you don't have a differentiating rule out there where, you know, you say, well, we have this rule, but it gets trumped by this rule, so why even have
Right.
that rule?
Exactly, so should we look through this if we have any issues? I mean, how much of this can we be like, we don't like that, and you're gonna be like, tough luck, it's a federal law, like, or is it all gonna be like tough luck?
Honestly,
it's
that's
federal
really
law?
between you and the commission, not really between you and me. The commission gives me the rules that they approve and I follow them.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
That makes
So this book is like, did you guys just take this from another fire district, or?
Yeah, this is the general, and then you together, you and the commission will go together and say, you know, we need to strengthen that. It's like a law, right? You can make the speed limit more strict, but you can't make the speed limit less strict.
So this is like, we can't make this less strict than
No,
what
it's
this
federal.
is. Gotcha. Okay, just wondering the rules of the game before I start playing
That's a
the
good
game.
question.
Okay, no.
Yeah, you can add on it, but you can't reduce it.
Okay,
Yeah.
And the question I had is, now this commission is independent of the board. Do we have to have a board presence on the committee?
No, it has to be
Or it has to be
independent. So-
independent, okay.
So you five cannot be on the
would-
We can't be on it.
Right.
It's
a
So we
separate-
would-
Just
we would
citizens.
choose
Nobody-
individuals.
it's a citizens thing?
Yes,
Yes.
it's a citizens committee that we would appoint.
So we gotta appoint, do we need to appoint it today, or find names, or
No,
offer names?
you've got the rules. I'm kind of just baby stepping this process
Oh,
because there's a
okay.
bit to it.
Okay.
So you've got the rules today, so you can familiarize yourself with the rules. Next meeting, maybe you should come to the table with maybe some suggestions of some people you'd like to maybe see on the commission.
Okay.
Or you could give us direction to put out an announcement requesting people who would like, kind of like with the budget committee.
Right.
And I
type of
think,
thing in the
yeah,
budget
I
We have an
think
opening in
that's,
the budget committee, so we put it out there on our website, hey, we have a meeting, if anybody'd like to, just come by and, you know,
and
basically
ask
say.
for letters of interest
You
or
know,
whatever.
yeah. So either way, we could do either of those. It just has to be 3 people, and they just have to be taxpayers and members of the community.
In the district, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we be looking for like HR type of people, or should we be looking for like firefighter experience type people?
People with the more experience in these things obviously makes it a lot better.
Okay.
But there's no guarantee you're gonna find that.
Yeah.
So at some point, you gotta kind of say, hey, we gotta get.
Are
what we
they-
can
Somebody
get.
that'll willing to do it.
Are they
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
and breathing, you know?
Are they walking? Yeah.
And breathing. Breathing is usually an important.
Obviously,
Bring them in,
if you can
bring them
find
in.
somebody who's familiar with civil service, that would go miles, because you don't have to basically teach them everything, and they're on the commission, which means that even if you had 2 people who weren't as familiar with it, that one person can
leader.
coach
Right.
them through it. And, you know,
Can it be volunteer firefighters?
I'll check the rules.
But it probably can't be paid staff.
No, it can't be paid staff.
Okay.
So, civil service does not cover volunteers, it's employment driven.
Yeah,
so
It's hard to get
it's employees.
for anything.
It is.
So it could then a
Could be
volunteer,
volunteers.
it could possibly be a volunteer.
Could be, but I don't want to give a definitive answer without going back to
Yeah.
the rules and double checking, so, you know. So, yeah. School programs, so we're still trying to get the school to let us bring in every 15 minutes. The upper leadership of the school is just a little cautious about it because they think it might be a little too traumatic to do a scenario with kids all moulaged and everything. I think that the trauma level of it is what really drives it home for them to understand how serious this is.
It goes into your head when you see that.
Yeah,
I still remember that.
Yeah, you'll remember that.
So we're trying to work with them. I'm gonna go back up there with Officer Landry and go and talk to them again and say, okay, can we do, maybe we just take this a little bit at a time and we do portions of it and not the full thing, you know, or maybe we just do just the scenario alone, but we definitely don't want to reduce down the scenario to where it doesn't have that serious effect to it, because that's kind of the whole point of it.
You don't want to sugarcoat it.
Right.
Because
you
it's
know.
not, it's not.
People need to see that motor vehicle accidents lead to severe injuries, and especially if you're doing it carelessly by drinking and driving or
Cell
driving while
phone.
distracted. So, if we cannot land on this with the school, our next option was to maybe even go to, and this is tough because I know Beachcombers is pretty jam-packed with stuff.
Is it?
But maybe go to Beachcombers and see if they'd like us to do a demonstration sometime during the middle of the Beachcombers day.
Oh,
And throw it in as part of Beachcombers. So, either way, we're trying to get this out there. You know, we're seeing a lot of motor vehicle accidents that involve these situations, and we want to try to get the awareness out there. So, hiring firefighters. We hired 2 firefighters. Charlie is here. If you want to stand up real quick. Charlie Stay is with us, firefighter engineer EMT. And then we also hired, and you might have remembered him from before, he's here in the community, Taylor Jernigan,
yeah.
paramedic,
Right.
firefighter engineer. And so they all start, actually, Charlie starts this next shift rotation day after tomorrow.
So we got
right?
6 now then.
So, yep, we're up to 6.
Very
So
good.
Shy's not riding alone.
Jai is not
All
right.
right, that's what we've been after right there.
How am I gonna have this conversation with your wife?
Yeah.
Hopefully now you won't have to. If you remember, I was down.
Yeah, who was gonna do that job?
So they're on board. Their shifts all start these next 2
that's
rotations. So we're running 2 minimum staffed, and we won't drop below 2. And so,
That's kind of a comforting feeling, isn't it?
yep. All the grants you can see on my report, there hasn't been a lot of movement on grants. The FEMA grants, I've been talking with everybody, and they're not releasing dates right now on when they're going to start giving us some results. So I actually just met with the Rosenbauer rep the other day, and he's been going around asking all the different chiefs if they heard anything, and he's got nothing.
Really?
So they had an issue with the SAMS program, and that delayed their timelines, and they just haven't really bounced back from those timelines yet. So I'm hoping to hear soon.
Because
But
that wildland fire congressional act should be coming around before too long. I think, for the grant application and
yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of us are depending on these numbers for our projected budgets. And so we need to know if we need to do a budget with those numbers included, or if we do our budget without those numbers included and push them to the next fiscal year. The truck is easy. The truck's not coming out of the factory for a year. So that obviously gets pushed to the next fiscal year automatically. But the SAFER grant can go into place right away. So if we get the SAFER grant and I get the award coming in as early as July, it has to be in the next fiscal budget to capture those numbers so that we can use that money. And so it's kind of, they're getting to that point where the chiefs are going to start getting noisy about wanting to get their budget numbers in correctly and wanting some deadlines to know what to do. So,
Yeah.
so I was assuming that we'll start hearing something soon, but not yet. That's
So
about it.
on that kind of topic, so now that we have a couple more firefighters, we have quite a few good apparatuses. How are we looking as far as being able to set up to go on configuration?
We can do it now, especially with the fact that the configurations are going to cover the overtime and the coverage costs. So where we're going to be limited is we only have 2 engine bosses in the district. And that's myself and Cody Johnson.
Gotcha.
So in order to send a unit out here without teaming them up with an engine boss from another district, either myself or Cody has to go.
Gotcha.
So the next priority is to try to find an engine boss class and get a couple more people into that engine boss class,
Okay.
so that we can have more options.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
But
then
now
as
we
far
have the
as
staffing to do it.
Apparatus and stuff, I think we should
Yeah.
have enough to be able to send a couple trucks out, at one time.
Oh,
or
yeah.
just one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send our type 3 out is what will most likely go out. That's what they're calling for the most, is type 6s and type 3s.
Are we gonna have any volunteers that are gonna be able to go out if,
We have a couple, it's just whether or not they can work it with their schedule at work. Because they have to be dedicated for 2 weeks.
yeah.
So, yeah, if their employers will let them go, we do have a couple of people who would qualify,
Okay.
but it's really between them and their employer, and they could get extended beyond 2 weeks, and typically don't do that. The California ones have a higher chance for that, so,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And then as far as, I know at one point we were talking about talking to seniors about getting trained in wildland fighting. Is that still maybe kind of
Yeah, that's us working with their wildland program, and so help
actually. I just spoke with, it kind of goes along with the cadet program and stuff. I just spoke with Judge Sturman at the school last time I was there. And we kind of settled on, we're gonna meet sometime the end of this month. And kind of talk about getting that program rolling. And find out what he wants, what would satisfy the school, and what would satisfy the district at the same time. So when I have more information, I'll get it to you guys.
Yeah, because I mean, if we have wildland trucks, so we can send, you know, a couple kids out or whatever.
The only thing with that is like Chief Mason said, there has to be an engine boss.
There has to be a new box for that.
And the people that we send out have to meet the Oregon State Fire Marshal's rules, which means they gotta be certified firefighter ones, they've gotta have their S-130, 190, they have to redo their RT-130 every year for the refresher, and have their L-180 and certified.
So we can't do like what the tribes do sometimes, like they have wildland firefighters. At least I had buddies in high school or in college that would go out and
Yeah, those are contract crews, they don't fall under state
they
fire
don't have the
marshal's
same
office.
rules.
We
Okay.
fall under fire marshal's office.
Rules.
Rules, there's lots of rules.
The reason being too is the Lincoln County has a structural protection strike team. So when we go out, like our main goal, the main job is structural protection.
So they're not just digging
We don't go out and
trenches.
dig line, we don't do any of that. Like we go out, we identify houses that can be saved, can't be saved, and we do what we can to either prep and fight, prep and run, however we need to. But because of that aspect, they have to be a certified structural firefighter.
Kind of a crazy idea thrown out here. The Volunteers Association is 501c3, correct?
C4, I believe.
Yeah.
Currently,
Currently a C3 gonna be
Yeah.
changed to a C4 where it should, where
you
it's
guys
where it should be.
registered wrong.
Then couldn't they technically, as a corporation, then do their own thing with the high school kids? And they wouldn't fall underneath the same guidelines?
I don't think
And that would
so.
be like big funding for the Volunteers Association?
I don't think so, because I think ultimately they still fall under the fire district. So, I don't think so.
Just
Yeah,
throwing
the
ideas.
insurance would be an
Figured
issue.
we're running through the meeting pretty quick, so just throwing some things out there. Sorry, guys.
You don't want to break a record?
I like your one about, I liked your one about lessening the rules of the secretary.
And we already talked about the lease, so I'll send that off to legal. And then for the action items, there's only a couple left that aren't completed, and both of them revolve around upcoming budget. So I'm already got most of the preliminary budget done. I'm starting to move on to the serial levy, which is capturing number 5, which is the engine equipment continuity list, trying to get all our engines the same. And then the Five Rivers water supply, adding a water supply tank to the station and up there, and just buying the tank and the
I
materials
think
to
that's
do
a
that.
good idea.
So
I just happened to find out that Louis Lindsay did take that place back.
oh, we did?
Yes.
Okay.
And so the thing is, I'm planning on making contact with him here shortly. But I just found that out through the assessor's office.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't heard
Tuesday,
anything from the
I guess.
assessors, so, yeah. Everything else, you know, rope rescue, I delayed the last shift because of the new hire. I wanted to incorporate them in. So that way, when that person starts their next rotation, they get the first part of the class done instead of doing the class and then having one person not having that certificate. So that'll be done in 2 more shift rotations for that shift. And then, yeah, everything else is completed. So at some point, if we think of more goals
Yeah,
that we want to do, we can
Yeah.
start adding to that list, so.
so we may, do we want to put that on an upcoming agenda, maybe not April, but, well, budget is,
Let's get through budget.
let's
Yeah,
go
let's
down.
Budget takes a lot of
Okay,
time.
we'll take it easy on you. We'll
Budget
do that.
takes a lot of time, yeah, it's a lot. I'm still trying to do a lot of confirming the new numbers coming up for insurance and things. And also trying to forecast how fuel costs are gonna be for the next year.
So maybe July for a goal setting.
Yeah, July would be good. That's it for my report.
Hey, we got any questions from the citizens or the viewing audience?
I just checked and we were everything online, so.
Nothing? Okay. how good of the order then?
Oh, we got good in the order. Good to see you guys up at the career fair today. Gotta harass some of those guys at the career fair this afternoon. And
Where was that at?
up at the high school.
Oh,
It was a
okay.
career fair for the middle school kids. And yeah, they had a lot more things on their table than I had. As a banker, you don't have much
Money.
So, and I thought about that with back, but I didn't think the school was gonna be too fun of me just $100 bills.
You would have been really popular, I'm sure.
Yeah, popular.
So I guess we're good on that one then. Well, we're cruising right through this. I guess we're at adjournment. All right, meeting adjourned. Gotta be a record for us.
36
So.
What is it?
Yeah, we never used to be past Wood City and just carry on.
Everything's like dragging out.
Talking.
All that thing is, I think,
Should go.